Welcome back to another edition of Bourbon Kingdom. I'm David.
And I'm Zach.
And today we are going to talk about our daily drinkers part two.
Part 2.
Yeah.
So we basically kind of said when we first started the channel that about every 6 months we wanted to update what we are kind of drinking daily.
Yeah.
And kind of how, and I think it shows two things. A, kind of like just how we kind of personally grow in bourbon, but then at the same time, how our profile just constantly changes with the palate. Like it's just, because there's some things on there that we've literally changed. I think you've basically changed out all of your kind of dailies that you had from previously.
Yeah.
I've kept some. Mine just kind of grown a little bit, but I have taken some out.
And we're going to also caveat this thing with
Here we go.
Parkerson over here did daily drinkers that are just normal. I'm not going to say some of Zach's over here are in the allocated form, but some of them are in the allocated form. And for normal people, oh, is that what we're drinking?
No, he's actually drinking Russell's 13. He's sitting over here complaining about drinking.
That's because this is one of my unicorns, as we've always talked about. This is a unicorn for me. I don't want to say that Zach has a herd of unicorns, but he probably has a herd of unicorns. And he won't even he lets me sniff it and drink it while we're on the channel. I think just to kind of keep me on the hook. So, anyway,
I think what he's trying to say is that maybe one at most, 2-ish, a lot more than that, are difficult to find for some. And I understand that. But here's the thing. If you have good whiskey, you drink it. It doesn't sit on the shelf.
That is true.
I have very few bottles up here that are not open, and I have them saving because for a special occasion or whatever else. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a lot of mine that you can find on the secondary.
Yeah. So anyway, so ours are gonna look a lot different. I mean, that's just kind of
not
what it
all
boils
of mine.
down to.
But
not all. That is true. Not all is.
Two things. All right. Two things before we start. First off, go ahead and hit that like. Leave a comment. Let us know what you like to keep on your daily drinker shelf, however many that is. If it's 5, 10, 15, whatever it is. And then follow us for more future videos that we're doing based around this. Russell's 13.
I mean, thank you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. It was a surprise pour. He didn't tell me until we actually got on the camera. So,
and then the second thing is Dave kind of already like I said, he's already kind of totally mixed and matched out all of his old daily drinkers he had. I still have 4 previous from the last one, and I just want to really quickly remind everybody of what this is. These 4 have not changed whatsoever. I still drink these daily. Stag Junior's getting a little low, though, because this new batch hasn't came out, so it's getting a little frustrating.
For some of you all, you probably have the new batch.
Yeah, there might be some. But, again, I'm not going to go over all of this, but these 4 we've talked about in the last video. If you want to hear more about it, go back to the previous video.
Really good.
They're all still there.
Yeah.
So, anyways, go ahead, Dave.
All right. Well, my first one that I've kind of switched out is Russell's 10. It's a 90 proofer. And I'll be honest with you, I just like it. Outside of an allocated unicorn that I really want on my shelf, this is one that I go to all the time, and I enjoy Russell's 10-year a whole lot. I just think it's got a really good rich taste to it, and it has hints of vanilla that I really like, and so I just really enjoy it. So
here's also something to point out, like there's 3 bottles technically, because I had Rare Breed and Russell Reserve single barrel on there. That's 3 bottles of Wild Turkey. Like, don't sleep on it. You can find it literally everywhere. Don't sleep on it.
And honestly, if you can find store picks of this too, or barrel picks of this, they generally do a pretty good job with Russell Reserve. Yeah,
all of it, for sure.
Yeah.
So this right here, Woodford Double Oak. We did this in the blind where actually I think I picked this.
You did pick it,
as my overall favorite.
And I picked the
You picked the Michter's, yes. literally, whenever that day happened, I went upstairs later on that day after he left, and I did a blind between the Elijah Craig, Toasted, and this. And I picked this again, and I'm like, all right, I'm done with Elijah Craig Toasted. That's just how it is. I like a really good finished bourbon. These are money. You can literally find them everywhere. You can find great value in these with store picks. They've went up a smidge.
Yeah, this is not even a store pick, and
no,
this
it's
is
just
fantastic.
basic.
Yeah,
No, I literally bought that
fantastic
for the video because it's just a standard expression.
I have just a standard, and I have 2 store picks that are
awesome.
Sitting on my shelf because they are so good.
Yeah, I know.
Really are.
Fantastic.
My next one is
So
Rebel, which I've never been historically a Rebel fan. This happens to be, and sometimes you get store picks, sometimes you get barrel picks. This is a barrel pick. It's a Louisville Bourbon Club barrel pick called. It's a Cheers one. It's the Cliff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not normally a Rebel fan, but LBC generally does a pretty good job of barrel picks, and so
very few misses,
and so
a lot of hits.
So I got this one, and this one is just so good. It's 113 proof, which is right in the proof that I like. That 110 to 125 ish is in my wheelhouse. There are some bourbons that are above that I really like, but for a daily drinker, this is so good.
And the nice thing is you can find a lot of these.
Yeah.
It's not like these are hard to find at all. You can find actually a lot of different picks.
Yes.
Get a lot of good value out of it.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
I'd agree. All right. So, this is where it starts to get a little bit more difficult-ish for everything. Even though technically this isn't allocated. But we've talked about this before. This is Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof. And these are seriously some of the best $60 you can spend on the market for anything it's bourbon. The problem is...
technically, this is Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah, whatever. You can find these... They kind of go in waves. Where, I tend to find a lot, and I pick them up, and so on and so forth. But then there's times where I can't. So, right now, I'm kind of on a wave where I've bought, 4 of them.
Yeah.
And I bought a festival pick, and I bought a club pick, and then I bought a store pick, and I just have this basic one that I found. I was like,
Total Wine usually generally has a good amount of them. Yeah.
Yeah, but
you can never go wrong with those.
The only thing I will say that I'm noticing is these are starting to go down in proof, and I'm assuming just to be able to water it down, just to kind of make more. I could be wrong, but you just find these in the high 30s all the time, mid 30s, 130s, high 130s, and now I think this one's is this a 128? Yep, 128. Still really good, but for the people who are want to be a proof snob about everything, that is a little bit of the backside of it, but again, these are really great.
Yeah. One of my others is Evan Williams Single Barrel. You don't really have to talk much about it other than this sucker is solid all the time.
Yeah.
It's just it's good a drinker. I mix this one every once in a while with stuff. I
dollar for dollar, one of the best bottles out there.
Yeah, dollar for dollar. Again, this is a $28 bottle. You can't go wrong with it. So
no. And some of them are super secret, amazing hitters. Where I've been in text threads before, where it's man, I'm drinking this right now. It's on a bar somewhere. You can go try it and look for this barrel. And literally, I know people have done it and they'll buy 6 of them because they're so awesome.
Yeah, really, really, really solid. Again, can't go wrong with it.
So another one that's not quite allocated, but kind of difficult to find-ish. But for the most part, I think you can find I think if you're in the right state, you can find a bunch of them.
Yes.
They're just not everywhere. Same Houston 15-year. This, I've found that Kentucky 2, that's the batch number that it is. That's my favorite. And I have 3 of them. I've already drank 1. I'm working on the second one. They're really great. They are a little pricey. I think they're around $150 a bottle.
Are they that much?
I think so. I think it is.
We did a comparison of them in Calumet, and I felt like they were close to the same price.
Well, I think the Calumet was actually a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Close. That's another really good bottle. I just think this one's better.
This was definitely better.
Yes.
And I have Calumet 14 and 15, and when we did the test, this is by far the better one.
I agree. It also looks really great. I think the label of it looks really great. Stands tall and everything.
For sure.
It's an amazing bottle. There is a lot of different ones you can try. Just depends on the state and stuff, but just they're overall great.
Yeah. My next one is I usually, and I know most bourbon and whiskey is sour mash, but for some reason they make it redundant on Michter's. But this Michter's sour mash is my favorite of just kind of the regular releases of Michter's.
Yep.
There's just something about the taste I like. I actually prefer this one on the rocks. It's just kind of my I don't always prefer them on the rocks, but this was one that I prefer on the rocks.
I'm honestly surprised when we did this first time this wasn't one of yours, because you talk about it so much. This is just one of the ones that you prefer.
I actually tried the Belle Meade sour mash, and not as good.
Not as good. Okay,
not as good. Enough. And so Michter's, as always, you put out a good product. So
that's true.
Very rarely are we disappointed with your products.
Now this is where Dave's gonna start complaining about my picks. Old Forester, barrel strength. So let me just start out here with all of this. Like, what are you looking for there?
Just looking for your Russell's 13. I'd like a refill, please.
Not back there.
Dang it.
Over at the bar over there. So in the area that we live, I won't say we can find these all the time, because we can't. There's probably a couple times a month where one of these will pop up, and you have the opportunity to be able to go get one. Every time I'm pretty much off work and I'm available, I pretty much go and pick one up. Yeah. And I'm also, in the way, kind of spoiled, if I'm being honest with you, that was that your phone?
It was my watch.
Your watch.
Yeah.
We're also spoiled that we have Old Forester Distillery that's literally 7 minutes away from me, that whenever they put out barrel strength or 100 proof, or back in the day whenever they were still doing 90 proofs, I could go down there and get one. And I have a this is actually a really great pick. So this is actually a whiskey, a Merle's Whiskey Kitchen pick. I have two of these, good. And that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's good.
Again, like we're just in this area, Louisville and Kentucky, we get a lot of restaurants. We get a lot of picks through that and stuff like that. So I pile them up. I always have one kind of open. There's a couple I've had throughout my time that I haven't cared for. For the most part, love all of them.
Yeah.
So,
my next one is Jefferson's. It actually isn't this Jefferson's. This is one that I got that I've had on my shelf. I haven't drank much of it. But my actual favorite daily drinker, which I just ran out of, and again, it might be one of my allocated ones that is kind of harder to find, is the Twin Oak. I love the Twin Oak. The oakiness of it, man, it just shines through on it, and it is, I just love it.
Yeah.
And I've not historically loved all of Jefferson stuff.
I used to be a huge Jefferson fan
back in the day. But the Twin Oak I really like, and this one's fine. But again, I just did this bottle as a representation of Jefferson Reserve so that I can give you the Twin Oak spiel. So it was really good.
So, again, maybe not like a highly sought-after allocated bottle of mine, but we're going to talk about old High West, uncut, unfiltered.
He meant Smoke Wagon.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry, we just did a High West review.
Yeah.
Smoke Wagon, uncut, unfiltered. And I'm bringing up these bottles here, because I have one open, then I want to be able to compare and contrast the clear glass to the amber glass. I'll be honest with you.
I still love the clear glass.
It's way better. Yeah. It's just cooler looking. I don't know why.
I like the white label. I like it all.
The white and gold looks better than the black and gold, just going to be honest.
It's fire.
When people talk about these bottles being overhyped, because there is definitely a cult following with it. I'm part of the cult. I'm all in. I'm all about
part of the cult as well.
Yeah.
Love it.
Literally, I was holding off on wanting to put this bottle on my list because I thought he was, because ever since we have been able to start getting them in our area, we get them once a month. They literally drop at all liquor stores at random times within a week or two. And we are literally hunting these hardcore because they're always different batches.
And I didn't put this on my daily drinkers because I thought we were going a little bit lower in our price point, but apparently not. Apparently not.
Wrong.
Or this would have been in my, because I am 100% drinking on my Smoke Wagon all the time.
They're literally, they're so crushable. And here's the other thing. They're all different. So, this one I have open right now, it's very much a traditional caramel, oak, maybe a little bit of chocolate there kind of profile. his that he has open that we reviewed, it's a fruit bomb. And it's
Oh,
amazing.
It is amazing.
It's amazing.
I'm trying to milk that one
And
for all it's
as
worth.
you should.
So I'd get little pours out of it just so I can make it last as long as I can.
I don't blame you. That's the best part. These profiles for these bottles are different. So I have not had a bad one yet. The other one I had was like very creamy, very rich. And yeah, I mean, they're really, really good. And I understand these are really hard bottles to find. But even on the
they're getting easier and easier to find.
Yeah, but even like on the secondary where they're ranging from like 120 to 150, that's not a single barrel because those things are going for like $1,000 in some cases. Awesome value.
Yeah. My next one is Breckenridge, which is out in Colorado. Truth be told, I went out to Colorado, happened to stay in Breckenridge, Colorado. Didn't realize until right before I left that Breckenridge was actually in Breckenridge, Colorado. So I went out there and I got two different bottles. One that's a distillery only release that we're going to review at some point.
Yeah.
And then this one, they call it a PX cask finish, which basically is it's finished in a sherry cask. And I like a good sherry cask finish.
Sure.
If you've ever had the Doc Swenson's, which is one of it's a daily drinker too, but I was out of it, so I didn't want to put it. I didn't want to put it in the bottles, and I didn't have it. I've gone through like 3 bottles of that already. Yeah. But this one is just really, really good. Breckenridge is doing some good things out there. I don't want to sleep on them or anything. They do their own thing out there, and they are killing it out there because almost everywhere you can only find Breckenridge bourbon or whiskey.
Yeah,
and so
I'll be honest with you, still haven't had it yet. Yeah. And he's been talking about it the entire time. He's already, I mean, that's already a pretty little nip that you've taken out of the bottle. So I know you've been enjoying it.
I have been enjoying it for sure.
So
it's good. If you haven't gotten anything from Breckenridge, they put out a lot of stuff. There's actually a lot of stuff locally that you can get. There's just a few things that they keep just for their area, and
makes sense.
I think that's cool. Like that's the cool part about it.
Take care of your people.
So,
all right. Lastly, but definitely not last on my list, Old Carter. Now he's already laughing. Yes, I get it. All right, you can find it on secondary websites. I totally get it. All right. Again, in the area that we live, this stuff doesn't. When it gets put out there, I'm just gonna be honest with you. It will sit for a day or two, depending on which batch it is and where it's at. It's not necessarily flying off the shelf within the first hour. I can't imagine it sits very long,
but it should because it is good.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
There's really only like the big drawback is, this is like close to $200 a bottle now, and I get that. I have some older stuff. I'm sitting on about 12 bottles right now, and I have a lot of older stuff. But
they are one that you would consider a craft distiller.
Yeah, kind of like technically, even though like their stuff, they source it from MGP, except I think some of their single barrels is from Dickel. But what's crazy is like a lot of people, that batch 5 bourbon is like a unicorn for people. Like that stuff is phenomenal. By the way, if you're down at Bardstown Bourbon Company, they have a bottle of it sitting on the bar. Highly recommend trying it. At least they did as of the time we were doing this video.
What's that poured?
I didn't even ask. They said they had the bottle. I didn't even ask. I said I'll take it because you can't find it anywhere. It's gone. It's been drank or it's sitting somewhere waiting to be flipped for some crazy amount. But these bottles here, this is old MGP ultimately. And it's amazing. And really, like the people who get all crazy about the bourbon, they sleep on those single barrels that they come out with. And those single barrels, I think, are honestly way better.
Yeah.
And these are really good. I think they're way better. And yes, I understand it's expensive. And yes, I understand it's allocated and it's not everywhere. But for me, what I'm drinking...
if you're willing to pay $200 for a bottle of bourbon, you would not be disappointed in buying this.
I've only had one bottle of theirs I didn't like. And I didn't buy it. I just tried it from... I went to a little bit of a, bottle swap thing where we all brought a bunch of stuff. And we all had a bunch of Old Carter there. But honestly, I love the stuff. And I cannot wait for the old Carter store to open up next to Justin's House of Bourbon in Louisville. Because eventually,
Ooh.
at some point in time, they're going to open it. I just don't know when, but I am waiting.
Oh yeah,
for
I'm
that.
excited. Yeah, that'll be
For
exciting.
sure.
So,
but anyways, that's
tell us.
basically all I got.
Listen, tell us what your daily drinkers are. Tell us what you like on ours, what you hate on ours, what's on your list. Like,
tell me how angry you are because I put allocated bourbon on my daily drinkers. It's not because I'm showing off or anything like that. It's just literally what I drink all the time. So I'm sorry.
I mean,
not sorry.
Oh, he also drinks it with his pinky out like this.
Maybe a smidge.
Yeah, just a smidge. So. Anyway.
But while you're also down there criticizing me in the comments below, just go ahead and hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel. Helps out a whole lot for us to continue to put out videos where you can give us crap over my list.
Yeah. Or my shirt or whatever else that you decide to do. Or if you're in total support of us, which we love. So we love either of them. I mean,
all of them.
We like all
Appreciate
comments. So anyway, till the next time, we'll see you.
See ya.